internet friends. Now, it seems like you guys really like my trend videos, and we just so happened to go through Fashion Month, so I figured I would do a little sit-down, chit-chat, deep dive into what just happened at Fashion Month. All the fashion weeks can get a little confusing to like the casual observer, so we just went through Paris, New York, London Fashion Week. All of those kind of happen within the same umbrella of like a 1 month time span. This time period is always establishing the fall trends. However, I do think as a casual observer and a big time thrifter, it's always important for me to kind of see what's coming out of the gate and kind of prepare myself, because let's be honest, at the thrift stores, if you see something good, you got to jump on it, because that's the one time you're going to see it. You're never going to see it again. So it's always kind of nice to know what's coming into season and what I should be keeping an eye out for. And also it's nice to just kind of watch along and enjoy the ride and see some of the creative inspiration that comes out of Fashion Month. So today I'm going to break this video down into 4 parts. The first part is going to be emerging trends. This is what I'm seeing the most of on the runway and what I think is going to be some of the biggest trends going forward. Then we're going to talk about silhouettes. This is going to be the style and the cut of garments. Then we're going to talk about wearable style, how we can actually wear some of these trends, because like the runways can be a little intimidating and a lot of times you're just seeing art pieces, but we want to translate that into things that you can actually wear. And then last but not least, I'm going to dive into my personal thoughts and hot takes on what's currently going on in fashion. So emerging trends, the first one I'm going to say is I finally feel like romance is back on the runways. I feel like the 90s minimalism trend is still very heavily going on. Like, we just cannot get rid of that trend, and I'm not mad about it, but I'm also like, okay, like let's shake this up a little bit. Really just want to see some fun, and I feel like it's starting to trickle in a little bit. Like, we're seeing hints of it. Romanticism is definitely coming back though into the fold. I felt like Chanel, Chloe, Zimmerman, those were all really starting to inject those like floral prints and just the romantic vibes of the season. We'll get into this a little bit later, but like Chloe, oh my gosh, I am gonna talk at length about the Chloe campaign, but like I said, we'll get into that. Give me some time. Let's digest everything first. 2 eras that I noticed really peeking through and showing their inspiration was the 20s and the 70s. 1920s and 1930s old Hollywood glamour definitely took over. I felt like the Victoria Beckham show with a lot of those silhouettes, that was very 1920s infusion. And the 1970s also I saw coming through in Zimmerman and Chloe, which always tend to lean that way when it comes to Fashion Week. You definitely see those 2 brands specifically. I was kind of shocked to see like Gucci playing it safe and not really doing too many looks from the 1970s, when normally Gucci is like at the forefront of that type of style and aesthetic. The biggest trend that I am so perplexed by, but I'm also very excited to see what kind of takes we start to see in street style, is skirt suit sets. It's been a long time. I think probably since the 1980s that we saw skirt suit sets really come into the fold this strong. I am honestly a little shocked because it's very hard to not make that feel like a dated look or like a very mature look. I think it's going to be interesting. I'm actually really excited to see it because as somebody who spends a lot of time in thrift stores, that's probably the most common piece that is left behind, is anything that is a skirt and a blazer. It just can very easily become a dated look, and it really reminds you of the 9 to 5. And the 9 to 5 is currently the style right now, which is very fascinating. But again, my hot take, we'll get into that a little bit later. Next is denim on denim. I covered this already in my spring trend prediction, but denim on denim is huge right now, and I think we're gonna see it spill over into fall even more. Feels a little weird talking about fall time already, I know, but again, that's just like the reality of following the fashion space, is just knowing what is to come, and denim on denim is going to be huge. There's no other way to put it. Denim on denim everywhere. Canadian tuxedo, dark wash denim, I think it's gonna be everywhere. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. I love anything with a dark wash finish. I think it just has a very rich look to it. Blush pink seems to be the color of the season. I mean, blush pink is so easy to incorporate into a wardrobe, so I'm excited to see that as a trend. I think right now we're seeing red is like the big push of the color, but blush pink definitely seems to be the route that we're gonna go in the later time of the year. Also, who's not to say that you cannot put these outfits already to good use? I think this is just the trajectory for where we're gonna go with a lot of these trends. So don't be afraid during spring, summer to start incorporating some of these looks into your wardrobe, or if you already have them, dust them off, bring them out, get them ready to wear, because these are definitely going to be some of the biggest styles that we're seeing in the coming year. Let's dive into silhouettes. These are the silhouettes that I saw the most on the runway and ones that definitely caught my eye. Trench coats. Trench coats are everywhere, and I'm really excited to see that. Anytime I see trends spill over from the previous trend cycle, I always like to pinpoint that. That's how we get the most longevity out of our outfits, is when we realize that a lot of these classic pieces are always going to be seen on the runways. I do find it really interesting though. It seems to be just like long line duster jackets are here to stay at the moment, which I love that, because as a thrifter, there's no better feeling than walking out of a thrift store with like 100% cashmere or wool long line duster jacket. Ooh boy. It's the best feeling. I find so many trench coats at the thrift store, so I'm always excited to see that. However, I do think there are a lot of companies right now kind of coming into the fold with really good quality trench coats. One of my personal favorites is Sezane. There's a couple different options, and I feel like that's a company who has really mastered the look of the trench coat. Same with Banana Republic. That's just like the contemporary modern line for buying pieces like that you know are gonna last forever. Okay, we're gonna go back to 30s Hollywood glamour. If you've been following me long enough, you know I have a major soft spot for that silhouette and that kind of hourglass figure, and then also the empire waist. Victoria Beckham is the one that comes to mind the most when I think of 1930s old Hollywood glam. Some of the silhouettes that she was presenting was very much reminiscent of kind of 1930s, 1940s cut dresses, and that speaks to my heart and soul. So you know that was one of like the top of the list for me. I think it just hugs a figure so well. It's so airy, it's so breezy, at the same time is so elegant and classic. And the last one, and I kind of already cheated and talked about a little bit, is the hourglass figure in general. I am definitely seeing this a lot more on the runways. I kind of spoke about it a little bit in my overall 2024 trend prediction. I specifically honed in on the shoulders, and now it seems to be strong shoulders and then hourglass waist. It's almost like a new spin on the corset look. Corsets were big for the last, I don't know, probably 2 or 3 years, and now it's really exciting to kind of see some of the corsets changing their shape and just going full-blown hourglass. I really enjoy seeing it. Okay, and that segues right into wearable styles. I think the outfits that are the easiest to put together right now, pulling from this inspiration, is the shoulder padding. Again, I think that's something that is so easily incorporated. We really saw the Frankie shop like establish their name with the shoulder padding, but let's be honest, pretty much every brand now is doing some kind of a shirt top with shoulder padding, so I do think that's so easily to get a hold of. Okay, next is 90s minimalism. I think is one of the easiest looks to put together right now and feel like you are channeling your like inner runway look. It's just everywhere right now, and I'm gonna share my hot take on it in a minute, but 90s minimalism, man, it just has taken over. Pretty much every brand out there now has a very like classic look to it. One of my personal favorites as far as getting like affordable quality luxury is Quince. I worked with them a few videos back and I was able to try out some of their pieces, and I just feel like the luxury and the quality is there for a very affordable price. Also like J. Crew, Banana Republic, Ralph Lauren, all of those pieces embodies 90s minimalism. They've stuck to their roots and they've stuck to what has really made them strong in the fashion industry, and I think it's paid off for them in the long run, because it kind of ebbs and flows a little bit, like the style kind of comes and goes, but because they stick to it, that is where everybody is always going to flock to for those kind of like minimalist quality pieces. The last piece, wearable style wise, definitely matching sets. And by matching sets, I don't necessarily mean like you buy the two together, but if you're shopping and you see a navy blue top and navy blue pants that go together so well, that to me qualifies as a matching set. Most companies are going to sell the items separately, and 9 times out of 10, that means you're getting better quality when it's being sold separately. If it's being sold as a set, most of the time that's from like a fast fashion label, and a lot of times you're just gonna get what you pay for. Let's talk about my personal favorites and my hot takes. Now, I'm a Chloe girl, okay? I've been a Chloe girl probably since 2015 era Chloe. 2015, pre-fall, had me in a chokehold, still to this day does. I look at that campaign and I feel like you could insert it into any era and it's very wearable. And that to me is important. Chloe took some risks, in my opinion. I think when you look at the runway right now in the current state and the current climate, if you will, I feel like everything's just very quiet. It's very safe bets. And I understand why. You know, if you look at the runway pre-pandemic, you can tell how much has changed in the last 4 years. Gucci, I think, is a perfect example. Gucci is playing it very safe right now, but pre-pandemic, they were in a lot of hot water with a lot of the pieces that they came out with. The fun and the spark of creativity has kind of died down a little bit. I think it's just kind of one of those sign of the times. But also, not to mention, people are really liking the quiet luxury look. So that is just the route that all of these brands are taking. And I do truly think it's just a safe bet for them. I think a lot of people right now in the fashion industry, though, have this hot take. And I don't necessarily consider myself someone in the fashion industry. I consider myself someone as a casual observer. I do see a lot of people who attended shows in New York and Paris just kind of giving this overall vibe and feel is it just feels very quiet right now at the moment. I miss the excitement, I think, when it comes to looking at certain garments. And I think that's where Chloe kind of really pushed through and made a name for themselves this season, is everything looked very the same. Like it was still very much on brand for Chloe, but it was very creative and out there. And don't get me wrong, I mean, there's a lot of brands that are doing that right now. And I think you saw a lot of emerging brands really kind of capitalize on this space and this time period to stand out amongst kind of this sea of just the same after same. I love the 90s minimalism trend. Again, I think it's almost like an outfit formula that every person should learn how to master because it's so important to have these pieces in your everyday wardrobe. So I almost feel like we're getting back to basics right now, and that's okay. Like, people got so far away from the basics and we're wearing some of the worst quality pieces that it's almost like we need to get back to this time period and figure out, like, okay, these are the staples that everybody needs. We should probably be investing in these pieces and then add in those fun pieces when something draws you in and catches your eye. Not just like going through this trend cycle one after another and just burning through all these like crazy pieces. Do I want to see some fun pieces though? And do I want to see some 1970s, 1930s glamour? Heck yes, I really desperately do. So one last thing I do want to say to kind of close out this video is how I find and manage some of my knowledge when it comes to these runway shows. I mean, of course, you can just log on to YouTube and watch pretty much all of the runway shows except for the Row right now, which, like, that's a whole conversation in itself. Vogue Runway app is something that I highly recommend if you just want to be like a casual, quick observer. Not only can you see past collections, so if I wanted to go back to, I don't know, Gucci 1998, I can see that campaign on their app, and it's a lot of fun to be able to like kind of go back and pull inspiration from past decades and just kind of see the evolution of each designer. It's a free way to kind of keep up with what's going on. You know, there's no paywall, there's no needing to buy a subscription, and I appreciate that a lot when it comes to fashion and fashion knowledge. I would also absolutely love to hear anybody's hot take or thoughts on just like what your favorite campaign was in general, but also I would love to know how you felt about the Row not allowing cell phones or any type of media into their runway show. With that being said, that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I could talk for hours about trends predictions, trend forecasting, and just everything that I love in fashion in general. But I don't have that much time in the day to edit my video. If there's anything else that you would like to see me do a deep dive into or maybe cover trends in general, please let me know down below. I am always interested in seeing what you guys would like to see from me. And as always, thank you so much for watching. If you guys are new around here, I might have a couple extra videos for you right here and right here. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.